Hey guys, what is up? It is Bibs07 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here. In this one, I'm going to be talking about this week's update, and basically how Jagex epically failed once again at ever doing any semblance of a QA test in their updates. And I also kind of wanted to go off on a bit of a side topic, talking about how you really can't trust Jagex's word for anything these days based off of this past year. Their track record is really in the shitter after this year, pretty much, as far as I'm concerned. Just going to be doing my Dark Beast tasks during this vlog. I am currently going for 120 Slayer slowly but surely, and I do have an episode, the first episode of my 120 Slayer series, pretty much ready to upload. I just need to edit the clips. I have all the clips together for the first episode, so should have that out sometime this week. And that should be pretty cool. So now I'll have two pretty cool series going on my channel, the Slayer and the Collection series. And did I get a scale? I did. Nice. But yeah, basically this week, although I thought it was going to be combat pets because they said last week that combat pets were about a week away, this week was the Tooltips update, and in and of itself, this was a pretty sweet update. The Tooltips, I mean, again, it's the second week in a row with no content because the last week was just Revolution plus, and this week is the Tooltips, but it is a cool update, I'd say, even if they kind of made it sound like they were going to be coming out with combat pets this week. I'm not going to be even surprised at this point if those get pushed back another month or some crap because of how pathetic their word has been in the past months and even this whole year, but I'll get into that more later. Basically, the Tooltips has added a bunch of tooltips to a bunch of items for various reasons. I'm not going to go through them all because there's like a ton, but just as like a general example, if I hover over my Nox bow, it should have something. Okay, there you go. The Nightmare Gauntlets right there. You can see item charge 85.2%. So that's an example of one. Same thing for the Pernix boots. And I mean, I don't even know what else there is. I thought the Nox bow would have like the charge in my charge pack, but it doesn't. So, like I said, it's not really a huge thing, just a bunch of little changes that are kind of like quality of life, so you don't have to always be checking your charges left on degradables, and just in general, making your life a little bit easier while you're doing certain things. So yeah, definitely, something I think is cool. Not sure if it really deserved a whole week on its own, but there was also a bunch of things in the patch notes which I wanted to talk about because they didn't really have anything on the homepage, but the patch notes did have actually quite a bit of stuff that is worth mentioning. So I'm just gonna they put, if you want to see every single thing that has a tooltip, you can check the patch notes. They have the full list there, but I'm not going to talk about them all because there are way too many, like I said. The Ghost event is over, by the way. That is one thing that I should mention. The Ghost of Gillinor Halloween event has ended, and you are no longer able to complete it because for some reason, people voted to not have it stay as permanent content, which I think is kind of lame. But, yep, that is now gone for those of you who didn't complete it. You no longer can, unfortunately. Missed out on a pretty cool title, the Ghost Rider. But anyways, just quickly scrolling to make sure I don't miss anything. This is actually kind of a significant one. The Gloves of Passage drop chance has been changed. It was previously 1 out of 2,000, which was really, really rare for gloves that, as far as I know, are pretty much never used because their special ability is like not that great at all. But they changed the drop rate from 1 out of 2,000 to 1 out of 500. So basically, it's 4 times more common now, which is pretty crazy of a change, honestly. But that's going to make it a bit easier for people who are going for like the Magister collection to get the gloves, because previously you would usually get the pet before you would even get a pair of gloves if you were, of an average luck rate of like the 1 out of 2K. Like if you did 2,000 kills, most people would have the pet by then, as far as I know. most people tend to get the pet before even 1,000 kills or before even finishing a weapon, based on what I've seen on like Reddit and stuff. So definitely makes sense that they would change these to make them more common, because just the 1 out of 2K drop rate didn't really make sense in my opinion, and definitely glad to see them bringing it a little bit more reasonable. So it shouldn't be too hard to get those now for those people who are hunting them. And in general, I think that was a good change, although kind of out of the blue and random, especially strange seeing as they just released the drop rates for these. You think they might have just taken the time to change it for that, but whatever. I think it's cool that they actually updated that. And then down here in the ninja fixes is where the shitstorm is going to start. So first of all, they added the permanent gold accumulator, which has been something they've been talking about for several months now. So you'd think they would include that in the homepage post that they do, but for some reason they decided to relegate it to the patch notes. But the permanent gold accumulator is in the Daemonheim rewards shop now. If I remember correctly, it costs 1.5 million dunge tokens, which is, I think, the most expensive item, but don't quote me on that because I don't really know. But it is really expensive, and you can spend 500 Slayer points, I believe, to put it on your tool belt if you like. The drawback, of course, is that it takes 10% of the gold as a tax when it picks it up. So, in my opinion, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to even buy this, because if there's enough gold on the ground that I would want to even get it, I will have no problem picking it up. Like here at Dark Beast, you get quite a bit of coin drops, and usually they're around 10k, sometimes even more. And I'm perfectly willing to just go pick it up myself, rather than lose 10% of it to a coin tax. Like, it'd be cool if they showed like a statistic in like a few months of how many coins have been eaten by gold accumulators. Although I'm sure that's not something they would even be able to track, but I think that would definitely be a cool little statistic to know, because I bet it'll add up really quickly. I mean, 10% is quite a bit when you take it out of like a large amount, especially if you're using it while doing like all the way up to 120 Slayer or something like that. But that's just my opinion. But this was one of the huge bugs that they introduced with this update. And it's the fact that if you put it on your tool belt and then you turn it off so it doesn't pick up coins for you, you'll just never get coin drops. I'm not sure if this has been hotfixed yet. I assume it has. I just got on from getting home from work, but that is just like an absurd oversight. Like, how can they not know they just don't even seem to do QA testing at all for any of these updates. Like, or they just like do one thing or two things and barely even check things that could obviously be done by people. Because like, you buy the gold accumulator, put it on your tool belt, sure, and then you're going to a boss like maybe God Wars 1 or something like that, where you're perfectly willing to go pick up the drop, or even God Wars 2 also drops coins. You're perfectly willing to go pick up the drop every kill, and you don't want to have to lose 10% of it for no real reason. So you turn off your gold accumulator, and now you just can't get drops. Like, it's a perfectly reasonable situation that they should have tested before they released it, but nope. They just have this thing in development for like 3 months, and they don't even test the most basic of interactions. It's really just pathetic on Jagex's part that these kinds of bugs somehow slip through the cracks, which apparently there are many cracks in the system, which you guys will be able to confirm with the other insane bug that I'll talk about at the end of all of the updates. One small change that is actually really welcome to me that I think is great is the fact that they changed it so you can use the quick prayer interface during combat. So I'm at Dark Beast here. I can just pull this up and still be fighting Dark Beast. So if you're at I've been using, oh no, that's my quick prayer. I was gonna say, have I really been using my magic prayer this whole time? But no, I'm not. However, what was I saying again? I'm just like trailing off, but that is going to be super useful. You start doing a boss and your quick prayers are incorrect, so you have to like, at certain bosses it's like super annoying or even impossible to change your quick prayers because you're just going to be in combat constantly. So that'll be really useful if you need to change them after starting the boss because you didn't realize they were incorrect. Definitely something I think is a bit underrated in terms of an update or a little quality of life thing. Just want to continue looking. Oh, they changed people have been causing a shitstorm about this on Reddit for who knows how long, but they made it so that your sign of life will now cool down while you're logged off, which, I mean, I never had a huge problem with it not cooling down when you were logged off. Like, it kind of made sense that it was the price to pay for being able to not die where you would have otherwise died. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about it either that they made it so that you don't have to be logged in. I think it's, you know, I'm kind of indifferent on this, but I'm definitely fine with it happening. And it seems like people finally got what they wanted. If you cause a big enough storm of crap all over Reddit, people will eventually maybe listen to you. I don't know. But yeah, that was also in the patch notes for the ninja fixes. These are all ninja fixes here, which are all pretty significant. Just trying to continue scrolling here and make sure I don't miss any of the big ones, which are pretty significant. Luck rings and items now state which items were received when informing the player that the ring shines brightly. Yeah, this is where the big issue was for the week. Basically, all the change really is in the chat. When you guys probably you've obviously seen the message if you've ever used a luck ring before. In the chat, you would see like your luck of the dwarf shines more brightly, and it's just like, what the hell does that mean? Did it actually affect anything? I don't know, because sometimes it would happen when you would just get like a regular drop from somewhere, or like it would seem to almost be meaningless. But there was also certain situations, like if you were at God Wars 1, where you would kill the boss, and during the boss's death animation, the luck ring would shine, and you would know that you were getting a drop, which was also weird. So I don't know. I haven't seen that happen in a while, so that might be something they patched, but still, it was kind of arbitrary what the shine actually means. So now it will say, like, your luck of the dwarf shines more brightly, and you receive X drop. Like I was doing Zammy earlier on my lunch break, and it said your luck of the dwarf shines more brightly and you receive a, you know, boots of subjugation or whatever. So that is pretty cool. Makes it a little more you know, make a little more sense when you're actually getting these shines, what they actually mean. So I'm glad they decided to change this. The problem is this somehow completely fucked drop rates at almost every boss, as far as I understand. For a solid like 6+ hours after the update, people were going to next and getting drops like every other kill, which is just obscene. Like, I don't understand how these kinds of bugs get into the live game. It's absolutely ridiculous and like completely pathetic for a game the size of RuneScape and a company the size of Jagex. Like, they need to invest in better QA testers or a larger QA team, because it is borderlining on ridiculous with how bad these bugs have become. It's basically a mimic of the Corporal Beast Sigil bug back when they changed the Ring of Wealth. But if you guys weren't playing back then, basically what happened was they changed the Ring of Wealth. I don't remember what they changed, but it basically made it so that if you went to Corp with a team, you could get a sigil every kill. And that was back when divines were like a lot of money, like 700 mil or something like that. So you can see why that was a bit of an issue. And this is basically the same situation. You can just go to Nex. You could just go to Nex and get a drop. Like, people were just spamming the broadcasts with drops, and it's just like, I don't understand how these kinds of things happen. Like, as far as I can tell, I mean, obviously it's got something to do with Jagex's spaghetti code, because why would they even have to do anything with the actual luck itself to be able to get the name of the item that you got as a result of the luck? Like, those things seem like they wouldn't really need to interact, and the luck code itself shouldn't have had to actually been changed for this. But for some reason it was, and made a massive bug that's gonna probably cause a slight dip in the prices of next items as well as a lot of other items, because I'm pretty sure it worked at almost every boss, although I don't know exactly because I was at work today, so I don't have like a first-hand knowledge or experience with the bug. But yeah, people were just farming the bosses and basically just getting drops all the time, which, I mean, it can't really be overstated how stupid Jagex has to be to let things like these get into the game. First the gold thing, then this, like two ridiculously obvious bugs in a single update that didn't even bring new content into the game. It's just like, it baffles me. I really don't understand it. But a lot of people on Reddit are calling for a server reset or for them to roll back the changes, which I highly doubt they're going to do, and I wouldn't really advocate that myself because, I mean, you can't really distinguish between people who were actively bug abusing or people who were just doing things on their accounts. And then there's going to be people who got certain things that had nothing to do with the luck thing that they're going to have to do over. Like, imagine you've been like grinding straight up all day today to get like a 99 and then they roll you back. Like, that would just be fucked up. But I don't know. I mean, that's just my opinion on that. And let me know what you guys think. If you ask me, it's absolutely absurd that things like this happen into the game, and they really need to tighten their shit up at Jagex. But anyways, that rant is over. They also improved the drop rate of the tier 90 boot components from Rune Dragons, which they were 1 in 512 before, and I believe they moved them up to 1 in 256, so double the drop rate. Hopefully that'll make the prices of those boots go down a little bit because they were a bit expensive in my opinion. And I think that's a good change. You still can only get them on task though, which is important to know. And I think that is good. Oh, they made it so you can bank straight from the Barrows chest. I just read that. I didn't even realize. That's pretty cool. You can just bank the loot straight up. Probably won't use that, honestly, myself, but if you want to, that's pretty good. They also finally changed it so that racks will generate the loot when you click the corpse. Previously, if you weren't wearing Luck of the Dwarves when you killed it, the Luck of the Dwarves would not affect the loot, but they finally made it so that you can put the luck ring on and then loot the chest, similar to Telos, which I think is a good change. You don't have to camp Luck of the Dwarves now, which is what I was doing at racks beforehand. And I think that is it. They changed some more XP rewards to lamps, but I don't really care about that. You know, maybe some peers will have a good time with those. But either way, I kind of wanted to go off on a bit of a rant talking about how Jagex's word is basically not worth a damn anymore. But I don't really feel like making this video longer than it already is, 17 minutes. So I might make that in a separate video later this week. Or I might just, stuff my rant and, not be a little bitch about it, but whatever. Let me know what you guys think about this stuff in the comments. It's pretty ridiculous if you ask me, but, I mean, still playing the game, aren't we? So I guess they can't really change it. But let me know if you guys think if they should do a server reset or not. I'm really interested to see your opinions on that because, in my opinion, they shouldn't, but I could definitely see why people would advocate for it. So let me know what you think.